Good afternoon to you, and as much as I would like to, I can't promise you that this will be a programme of great joy, because this morning, once again, we woke up to pictures and headlines that disgrace the game of football. More of that sad story later, but for the moment let me tell you about the rest of the programme. In our main match, Coventry against Crystal Palace, there's an incident that'll keep you talking for weeks. For our mini-match, we turn the spotlight on the special problems of Everton as they face Wolves, and we also show the Sheffield United Swindon game in which Martin Peters is still as sprightly as a spring chicken, years after he scored this kind of goal for England.
Alan Ball with a kick. Peters! 1-0.
Well, today's news of the current England squad is that all the players, including injury worries Kevin Keegan and Brian Robson, will report for Wednesday's World Cup qualifier against Norway. But the major story concerns the emergency meeting today of the Leeds directors to discuss the future of manager Jimmy Adamson. More about that and yesterday's depressing attendance figures later.
Right, now for the action, which comes first from Highfield Road, where Coventry City, whose attendances are suffering like most clubs as a result of the current economic climate, met Crystal Palace, parading the most expensive teenager of all time. Your commentator, John Watson.
Clive Allen's first full league appearance was against Coventry City 2 seasons ago when he scored a hat-trick for Queen's Park Rangers. And now, after his transfer turnabout, he already has 4 goals to his credit for his new club, Crystal Palace, and was this week selected for the England under-21 squad. As indeed were 3 of his colleagues, number 3, Terry Fenwick, number 6, Billy Gilbert, and number 11, Vince Hilaire. And at number 2 there, Paul Hinchelwood returns after injury. 2 of the 6 Coventry players on international duty next week are in that same England under-21 party. Number 5, Paul Dyson, and number 9, Gary Thompson. Coventry, like Palace, noted for producing a crop of good young players, and the latest we see today is at number 7, Peter Bodak, who makes his first team debut at the age of 19. He comes from Harborne in Birmingham, and he's an orthodox winger. Derek Webb of Sale in Cheshire is the referee this afternoon, and it's Coventry in sky blue, playing from left to right. Here's Brian Roberts, who is keeping Bobby McDonald out of the side just at present. Daly. What was given away, and Smiley for Crystal Palace, who's got a lot of pace, number 7, and he finds Flanagan, who gets his shot in. Well, a careless ball given away in midfield by Coventry, and this lad, Neil Smiley, provided the opening there with a good turn of pace. It was Flanagan who had the shot. Oh, persistence paid off for Hilaire there. Very good run indeed. He's got Clive Allen in with the shot. English, Hunt, Roberts, Paul Barron leaving his line with considerable confidence in the first half here. Thompson. And away by Fenwick. Spirited attacking by Coventry, but Palace have got players back, and Jerry Francis survives a handball appeal. And now looks for Jerry Murphy. On to Hilaire. Oh, and that was just edged back by David Jones. The sort of moment defenders dread, because so often it can be turned into an own goal when a player is forced to prod the ball back like that. And Daly's offside. Jerry Daly in the Republic of Ireland squad for next Wednesday's World Cup qualifying match against Holland. There's Cannon. And now it's Coop to Bodak and back. Bodak again. That's nicely done, and offside's been given, not against either Bodak or English, I suspect, but rather against Jerry Daly in the centre, who just edged ahead of the last defender. Allen. Murphy. Allen going through again. Smiley outside him, Allen shot. I think what can be said about Clive Allen is that, rather like Malcolm MacDonald in his heyday, he's going to score an awful lot of goals on sheer percentages, because wherever he is within range of goal, he's never afraid to try a shot. There's Bodak. And Daly continuing his run. Coop. Thompson just slipped as he came in. Palace again defending very competently. Coventry, as you might expect from the home side, have had a shade more of the ball, but chances few and far between so far. Alan Harris, the Palace coach, second from the left as we look. Foul by Dyson, putting an arm in the back of Flanagan as they jumped. So it'll be Gilbert to take the free kick for Crystal Palace. Here's Hilaire. The challenge was by Coop, and the referee decides it was quite legitimate. Another good jump by Thompson. And here's Blair. Back. 5 Coventry players waiting in the centre. It's Gary Thompson coming in now. It was Gilbert who got the ball away, and now Hinshelwood. Francis. Thompson and Hinshelwood. Two teams here who've shown a fair amount of promise, but precious little fulfilment in front of goal. So a half-time score of Coventry 0, Crystal Palace 0. maybe not surprising to see Crystal Palace now playing from the left, defending carefully in the first half, because before today they'd conceded 11 goals in their 4 league matches. Here's Smiley. And Blythe at the second attempt. Awkward bounce here for Jones and Dyson, and Allen is in on this. He's right in on it, and what a fine finish. So Clyde Allen takes his tally to 5 goals for Crystal Palace, and precisely the type of finishing that made first Arsenal, but then Crystal Palace more permanently fancy signing him. The bounce was awkward for the 2 central defenders, but once Allen got a sniff there, he hung on to the ball and made no mistake with that firm shot. So Crystal Palace start the second half by going 1 goal up. Now Allen finds Flanagan, his partner, and outside him is Hilaire. Shot striking Jones. So a test here for Coventry. It's Gary Thompson. Coventry usually so strong at home. They've beaten Arsenal and Manchester United already this season and drawn with Liverpool, but here they are, a goal behind. Daly to Dyson. Hunt. Here's Daly. Good running by Brian Roberts. Thompson, Daly! And within a couple of minutes, Coventry are level. The build-up seemed to be taking a long time, but then Brian Roberts made a good run from left back. Gary Thompson unsettled the defenders when the cross came in, and Jerry Daly's finishing, something for which he was noted at Manchester United and at times at Derby, brings the score back to 1-1 after 49 minutes, and that was Jerry Daly's first goal since joining Coventry City. So, a happy moment for him and the Coventry crowd. Penalised. There's Daly. Important for Coventry that they came back as quickly as they did, otherwise Crystal Palace might well have strengthened their grip on the game. As it was, they only had it for a matter of a couple of minutes. Here's Jerry Francis. But certainly the 2 goals have lifted the mood of the match. Roberts, who played a part in the Coventry equaliser, number 3. Ball was already over the line. Thompson to English. Now it's Hunt. Blocked by Cannon. Here's Blair. Coop again. And Palace come out for the offside again. And Dyson goes on himself. That's adventurous play by the centre-half. 4 in the middle, and English nearly made it. It was a fine cross by Dyson. And now it's Hunt. Daly chasing. That's Gilbert. Oh, and Daly! And a dreadful mistake by Billy Gilbert. Gave his goalkeeper no chance. And Jerry Daly has scored twice for Coventry in a matter of minutes and begun, I'm sure, a love affair with the home crowd. Poor Billy Gilbert being consoled by Paul Barron, because as the ball bounced there, he was favourite to knock the ball back. But as he did so, he didn't knock it hard enough, and Jerry Daly went in and made it 2-1. So a totally different match now in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. 3 goals, plenty of incident, and the home side, having been a goal down, are now 2-1 up. Nicely done by Allen. Here's Murphy. That's a free kick to Palace, right on the edge of the area. Mick Cooper judged to have fouled Jerry Murphy. Oh, what a tremendous shot by Allen, and the ball came back off the woodwork, and Palace appealed for a goal. Surrounded the referee, saying it was in, and here's an incident. Clive Allen hammered that, and it came back off the woodwork. Palace say it was over the line, and the referee is going to have to consult the linesman. Was the ball in the net, or rather, was it over the goal line? Jim Cannon leads the protests. The referee, Derek Webb, has to consult his linesman about that, whether the ball went into the goal or not. Allen hammered it from the free kick. It was his shot. And the referee says no goal. Well, there's a talking point. Clive Allen can't believe it. The game has to go on. And Palace continue to pursue the referee. And Vince Hilaire, who was sent off for pushing the referee in a recent match, had a word with him there as he ran across, and indeed I thought I saw one Palace player maybe even lay a hand on the referee when the first fierce protests came in. Now the other linesman is being consulted. What does he say? He's talking about where the ball finished up, actually, not about the next goal. It's a throw-in, he says. And still Hilaire continues the protest, which is unwise to do. Palace think they've got an equaliser here, and the referee has said no. Dyson's header, and offside, Thompson. On by Murphy and headed out by Dyson. Was late there on Gary Thompson, and the referee is going to show the yellow card to Jim Cannon, the Palace captain. Certainly I feel that the Palace tackles have become a little more urgent, if I could use that word, since that dispute over the alleged equaliser. It's Coote with the kick. That goes Gary Thompson, and offside against English. English again swept wide to Bodak. Coventry have got 5 players in the centre. That's Thompson. English going in. Oh, we got a jab on it. Blair! Andy Blair, the scorer. But great credit to Coventry for the way they built that attack. The play went wide, it came back across. Thompson involved, and English making something out of nothing there. He turned with the ball on the defender, jabbed it across the face of the goal, and Blair finished things off. So it's 3-1 to Coventry, and Palace will feel, I'm sure, even more deprived about what happened earlier. Hunt had a good match for Coventry. But the match now would appear to be beyond the recall of Crystal Palace. Substitution to be made by Coventry. Gary Thompson has been nursing an ankle injury recently, and he's the man coming off. Replacing him will be 18-year-old Mark Haitley, the England youth international whose father, many of you won't need reminding, was Tony Haitley. Murphy for Palace. Allen. Hilaire. Well, they found some space there. Here's Allen again, but he's offside. Allen gestures towards the linesman. Here's Murphy for Palace. Hunt trying to get back goal side. Still Murphy, good run. And out for Hilaire. Crystal Palace leave the field beaten by 3-1. They've let in 14 goals now in 5 league matches. But the turning point in the second half for them, they were a goal up, they were 2-1 down. And then came that moment when Clive Allen believed his free kick had gone into the goal. Past Jim Blythe, certainly. Allen thought, I think, it hit the stanchion. The referee consulted his linesman. They must have thought the ball came back off the post. As it was, the goal did not stand, and Coventry scored again to win the match by 3-1.
Well, at this stage, after seeing the incident and the replay, I wonder how many of you think that Clive Allen's shot did go in the net. Certainly, with or without a slow-motion replay, neither Clive Allen, Gordon Milne nor Terry Venables were in any doubt about it after the game.
Whichever way we look at this, Terry, it was a turning point in the game. So what was your own opinion about the disallowed goal?
Well, when we lose, I'm always disappointed, always. But you've got to be man enough to take those decisions. But I feel disgusted about that decision today because we went one up, we made a couple of individual mistakes, and we've been playing very well. We got the goal to get us back in the game, and he disallows it when there's not even a doubt in my mind that that went in and it hit iron stanchion at the back. Now, if he's saying we've got to hit some particular part of the net, well, perhaps that's to get a goal. That's different.
You're quite convinced from your first look at it, which was your only look at it, that's right, that quite
It's the only
clear.
time I've seen
Yes,
it, and
right.
there's no doubt at all.
It hit the stanchion.
And as we said, even from the reaction of their players, they just turned around and walked back. their players knows it was a goal, and there's no doubt. And to have 3 officials to not know, I think is disgusting.
Well, from my position, I could see right the way through, and the line of the ball and where it travelled. It went straight through the gap that was left there for me, and hit the stanchion and came out again. I think my job is to score goals, and I think I know when they go in, and that one definitely went in.
Well, it did happen very, very quickly indeed, John, but I don't think really I had doubt in my mind at the time about it being a goal. But when I saw the referee's reactions to it, there was obviously doubt there, and I think there's doubt from the 2 linesmen as well. And then your natural instinct is to continue playing at that time. Obviously now settling down and having a chance to look at the situation calmly, you know, my immediate reaction was it was in, and I think the majority of our players as well.
And that obviously turned the game from your point of view.
Well, it just, I mean, I would react exactly the same. Ideally, you've got to still keep playing. But we've scored a goal, you've got what you were after, the equaliser, when we deserved it. At times when we find it difficult to get points. They've done everything I've asked them today, and we've fought like hell, we've got the goal, and then they disallow it. To me, I just can't understand how people can be so bad. And this is, you know, this is what we're after. We're after getting professionalism into our game. We're trying to improve the game, talking about entertainment. And then we've got people in charge of the game that can't control the game, can't see a goal when it's a goal.
Well, 3 opinions there in favour of a goal. We did ask the referee for a view, but he preferred not to comment. So let's look at it now from 2 angles. First of all, the angle from which you've already seen it. Clive Allen there preparing to step up and hit what, after all said and done, was a tremendous shot. The referee moves to his right. And what I was at exactly the same angle as this. What seemed to deceive everybody was the ball was there. We stopped just for a moment. Obviously, if it were outside the post there, it would have gone flying on. It hits the ground and then comes out. But all that happened at rather lightning speed. And in the sun, wasn't easy to see, I can assure you, from the angle that I was sitting, and quite a lot of other people were too. But now let's take a look from behind the goal. The ball's touched there. In comes Allen. Blythe moves forward a bit. The ball is whacked. And you can see the position of the referee, not unsighted, and it hits quite clearly the stanchion at the back of the goal, comes down again, and then bounces up. I think that's pretty conclusive. But what a position I found myself in yesterday. Sitting watching that incident, I was sure from the reaction of the Palace players that it was a goal, although I couldn't clearly see it myself from the angle that I was sitting. But I also began to realise from what was going on that neither of the linesmen nor the referee had seen the ball go into the net. And if that was the case, they could not give a goal. And I realised that if they could have been persuaded to walk 100 yards to the BBC control room, the pictures we've just seen replayed would have enabled them to establish the truth and give the right decision. Yet then I remembered that 10 days ago at Old Trafford, when what looked a perfectly good Coventry City goal was not given, and the cameras were there then too, and the age-old truth came home to roost. The very essence of football, wherever it's played, must be that, rightly or wrongly, the referee's decision is final. It hurts at times to accept it, but unless we do that, there will be chaos. But I do sympathise with Terry Venables and his team, who on the whole played what I thought very entertaining football, and as a result of that very unkind rub of the green, came away with nothing. But when Mick Coop got away with this clumsy tackle in the first half, it just seemed to indicate that whatever they did, it wasn't going to be Palace's day. But if they don't lose confidence in themselves, I think they'll very soon leave the basement of the First Division and be up the league where they belong. Bob.
Well, shortly I'll be giving you the news about the future of Leeds' Jimmy Adamson, the latest manager to suffer the problems of being in charge of a club with a history of success. He's not alone at the moment. 2 men facing similar problems are Malcolm Allison of Manchester City and Gordon Lee of Everton, a club where there are constant reminders of a glorious past. Here's Tony Gubber.
Like a jeweller's shop window, the silverware glitters in the trophy case at Everton Football Club. The comedians on the terraces at neighbours Liverpool do argue that Everton's trophies are more valuable than their own because these, they say, are all antique. Well, it is true that no major trophy has been added here since the League Championship of a decade ago, and a more recent FA Cup success than this one was in 1966. But ambition here at Everton is boundless. When they built this Fort Knox showcase a few seasons ago in which to hang the club's sporting scalps, there's a man round to Liverpool with a tape to measure the European Cup, just to ensure that they built a compartment big enough to take that great trophy when they win it. This is that compartment. At the moment it contains a clock, not a cuckoo, and this unique set of 5 gold medals. One by one, Jimmy Steen. A First and Second Division Championship winners' medal, FA Cup winners, Charity Shield winners, and Lancashire Senior Cup winners. Steen was a player in the great Everton team of the 30s and a compatriot of the late Dixie Dean. The pictures on the walls are testament to Everton's proud history. But what of the present and the future? A shareholders' call for better results follows Everton finishing 1 place off relegation last season. And fans have waged a long campaign of criticism of manager Gordon Lee in the letters page of the local sports paper. If fans can talk with their absence, then there were actually more empty places at Goodison for yesterday's game against Wolves than full ones.
Although the season is still young, and Everton have only played 4 league games and a couple of League Cup ties, they haven't set off in a style which convinces the fans that better times are ahead. At the same time, they're just holding their heads above water, and I think the result of today's game will be a pointer to the rest of the season. If they fail today, then they'll remain down at the wrong end of the First Division, right from the word go. Whereas if they get a good result, then the day of judgment will at least be postponed for a bit longer.
How is Gordon Lee reacting to the strong criticism of the supporters?
Well, he's reacting in a very brave way in that he's actually gone out to meet the supporters at public functions, and he's taken their criticisms and he's done his best to answer them. And I think he's shown a considerable amount of personal courage in the way he's faced the problem.
What Gordon Lee, Everton and the fans at Goodison and at home wanted yesterday was a good win. Everton have put their faith this season in youth by including several young players like number 7, Steve McMahon, who's a month past his 19th birthday. And youth combined with the experience of Peter Eastoe and Bob Latchford to produce the first goal. Brilliantly taken by Peter Eastoe. That was Everton's 3rd league goal in 5 matches, and all of them have been scored by Peter Eastoe. This one from a perfect through ball by Latchford. Manager Gordon Lee was quite delighted.
I think his first half performance today was probably near international form today. Peter, I thought he's played absolutely out of his skin, brilliant really. Took his goal well. He's a very, very good player, and I think you know, when he really gets his confidence, and confidence comes from scoring goals and good results, I think the lad can even do better. But he has done very, very well.
Early in the second half, Everton went 2 up. Billy Wright, the scorer. But in truth, the goal was something of a gift, with the Wolves keeper Paul Bradshaw only flapping at the corner and Wright free to hit the ball on the volley, almost tearing the net. Bob Latchford had already been substituted, and Everton might have added a 3rd, when Eastoe found space but put his header wide. Wolves had their chances to score too, never more so than when McMahon tripped Peter Daniel in the last 5 minutes. It was clearly a penalty, and Everton didn't protest. The Everton keeper Jim McDonough hasn't conceded a goal in 4 games at Goodison since he signed from Bolton, and continued to lead a charmed life. Daniel's miss, the final act. Everton well worth their victory by 2-0. But still it appears the fans on the terraces just aren't satisfied.
Yeah, but for a club of Everton's size, it's not successful, is it? I mean, the fans are here. The success is a trophy, you know, which, unless there's one on the sideboard, you know, they'd never be satisfied, you know. And with Liverpool across the park, when there's something every year, that makes it twice as bad, you know.
What about the supporters who are writing all the letters to the papers saying the team are bad and things should be changed here?
I quite agree, and I think the manager should be changed too.
That's very harsh. I mean, you're FA Cup semi-finalist last season.
Oh yes, big deal. But he's been here 3 years now, and I think it's time for a change, and I think the crowds will come back then. I think,
there's always a danger of making change for change's sake.
Oh no, not really, not in this case. As I say, he's had 3 years to prove himself, and he hasn't. So I think we need someone new blood.
Gordon, do you feel under pressure here at Everton?
No, not at all, no. No more than I do, you know, ever since I've been a manager. I think that when you're a manager of a football club, if you lose matches, there's pressure. If you win matches, everybody's happy.
But what are your personal feelings when you see things like the letters page in the Echo and there's such strong criticism of you?
Well, I think it's like anything else. You know, the thing that sells newspapers, it's their job to write nasty things in the papers. You know, they don't want to write nice things in the papers, so they don't really make much difference to me, to be quite honest. I never read the papers, and they don't bother me that much anyway. In any case, I think the public pay the money, and it is their choice. You know, they do what they want to do, but it's not really. I don't think it's a bother for a manager, because I think managers get used to it anyway, and it's a bit disappointing maybe I would think if you're an editor, you know, if you're an editor of a newspaper, and you want to write nasty things in newspapers, then it's a bit of a shame. You know, it's a bit of a sad indictment, I think, on the way people earn a living. But you know, that's life, isn't it?
Do you think they've gone home happy today?
I think two teams made a good game for the public.
And a good result for Gordon Lee?
Well, yes.
Well, are you going home happy tonight or unhappy?
Well, that Everton win certainly takes the pressure off Gordon Lee for the time being. And the same could be said for Malcolm Allison, whose League Cup victory in midweek and draw against Arsenal yesterday are encouraging signs for Manchester City. Meanwhile, all those waiting for the head of Jimmy Adamson at Leeds look like having to wait until tomorrow, when an official statement is expected. This morning, the Leeds board went into hiding for their emergency meeting to discuss the manager's future following the team's disastrous start to the season. However, it now seems a foregone conclusion that Leeds will part company with their 11th manager since the war and their 4th in 6 years. At least Jimmy Adamson was philosophical about the whole situation when he spoke to us in Football Focus yesterday.
Managers accept the job knowing that they could get the bullet any time. It's happened already this season to Bill McHenry. It's going to happen again to other managers this season. So it's not the be-all and end-all. A manager getting a sack. It's happening all the time.
And after yesterday's 3-0 defeat at Stoke, Jimmy Adamson was also quoted as saying that if the sack results, it will be a relief to go. Well, despite early season optimism about the state of the game, one would be foolish to ignore the fact that this season's league attendances are now down by 140,000 compared with a year ago. The most depressing figure is this weekend's total of 493,400. The first time attendances have fallen below 500,000 for a full league programme for exactly 3 years. And yesterday's disgraceful riot during the Oldham-Sheffield Wednesday game highlights one of the main reasons why those statistics will get even worse. Perhaps the most pointed observation came from Oldham captain John Hurst, who said, "During the hold-up, I watched hundreds of people streaming away from the ground, and I wondered how many would ever return." Even the First Division's top game yesterday, Ipswich versus Aston Villa, only attracted just over 23,000, who saw Ipswich win 1-0 to remain leaders. Southampton are the only other side who haven't lost a First Division game, and they stay second after beating Brighton 3-1. The gap between top and bottom is now 7 points, with Norwich, Crystal Palace and Leeds showing only 2 points from their 5 games.
Well, such a pity to see Sheffield Wednesday on their way back to the top with those unnecessary problems. The other Sheffield club, United, who are following Chelsea's lead and staging a 7-a-side floodlight cricket competition next Tuesday evening, concentrated on the traditional winter game yesterday. Their opponents were Swindon Town, who had to contend with the inspiration and cunning of United's new player coach, Martin Peters. Your commentator, Barry Davis.
Joining Martin Peters in the Sheffield United lineup are 3 other new names. In defence, Stuart Houston, who had 6.5 very good years at Manchester United. In midfield, Mike Trusson, who came in the summer from Plymouth Argyle. And up front, that seasoned campaigner, Bob Hatton, whose career, like that of his front partner, Barry Butlin, reads somewhat like a British Rail guide. Both are with their 8 different league clubs, though Butlin's record includes 2 period returns on loan to Brighton and Reading. Swindon are deserving of some sympathy. They've had a lot of problems with injuries in what is their worst start to a league season for 19 years. But today they welcome back Andy Rowland, who's been out for 3 games, the result of a bad cut on his heel from Alan Studd. So together again is the Rowland-Alan Mays partnership, which last season produced 56 goals. The one new face in their lineup from last season is Andy Rollings, who signed from Brighton. And the face brought back for its owner's experience belongs to Brian Hamilton.
Swindon Town bench with Bobby Smith, the manager, on the left as we look. And it's Bob Hatton who gets the game away, with Sheffield United attacking the goal to our right. And if we've got problems in distinguishing the teams, Swindon are in the darker socks, wearing their change strip this afternoon of all blue. Here's the first touch for Peters, as usual, finding plenty of time to look up and find a column. This is John Cutbush. Kenworthy forward from the back. And an early encampment by Sheffield United in opposition territory. And an absolute gift, but the whistle had gone anyway for handball. But I'm not really quite sure what Russell Lewis was trying to do, and I don't think he was either. The referee this afternoon is Ray Toseland of Market Harborough. Moment of panic on a sunny afternoon. Houston with the knee. Nice by Rowland to Miller. McPhail had a time to look and fight to get distance. It's a corner. Swindon bringing 3 players into the 6-yard box. And Andy Rollings couldn't get there. It's Miller again. And the pace of that was too much for Carter. Houston, nobody offering width until Hatton did so. Handball. Well, in fact, although the cry was for handball, the free kick has been given to Sheffield United. A bit of pushing in from behind. Line of 3 coming across. Tibbett, Hatton, Trusson, and it came off the woodwork. Good header across by Hatton, and Trusson directing it wide of the goalkeeper, just a little bit too wide. Tibbett, Hatton, Trusson pulling away far post, and it came off the crossbar. And Allen coming across his goal, looking as Trusson was for the header backwards, found the ball coming off his crossbar, having beaten him. Greenwood. Trusson. Tibbett. And falling Carter. And falling over the goalkeeper, and penalty given. Well, Tibbett, I suppose, can count himself a little fortunate. He did well to fool Carter, but Allen would probably claim that he was coming out to get the ball, and the fall over the top was inevitable, which any challenge like that must be. But it's a chance for Tony Kenworthy to beat Jimmy Allen. 41 minutes gone, and 1-0 to Sheffield United, the scorer Kenworthy. So the first direct shot that Allen has had to save in the half came man against man, And the ball tucked away cleanly into the corner by Kenworthy. For the record, no complaints by Bobby Smith, the Swindon town manager, about the penalty. And there's no further score as we pick up the game. Andy Rowland is off and has been replaced by Charlie Henry. Really tight, the midfield, into a small area. Greenwood. Cutbush. Back for Miller from Kamara. Promising for Swindon. Greenwood, oh, it just ran away from him. Turned away comfortably into the path of Peters to tap it back. Good use of the chest by Matthews. Tibbett. Hatton gets the corner. And the cameraman gets a knock on the ear. A good contest between these two. Hatton is leading. There's Charlie Henry who got it away. That's the goalkeepers. Mays. A little bit short. And Hatton to Peters. Did it nicely in spite of the stumble. Back again to Hatton. Butlin is over this side. They probably should have made more of that. Peters and Hatton, both of whom have been around a bit, not always at the same level of football. But the one man who wasn't involved in that move perhaps should have been to finish it. Barry Butlin, who was on the near side as we looked. And an offside decision given against Henry. Sheffield United made a pretty bright start to the season in terms of points. 6 points from 4 games, just 1 defeat at Barnsley last week. Turn of the year, they suggested themselves as promotion candidates, but won only 3 in the last 20 and 1 in the last 10. And their chance disappeared, and they finished pretty low down at 12th. There's Tibbett. Covered the cross well for Hatton. Nice touch away by Allen. Cutbush. Gets it away from Carter. Surely he's going to put it away this time. No! Oh, bother. Well, he perhaps could have taken more time. Having worried Carter into error, he turned with the goal facing him, 1 defender on the line, but the shot quite well wide. Bale didn't know where it was, neither I think did Henry. Butlin, Trusson, Hatton, he's got Tibbett just behind, number 7, and a corner. And he changed the point of the attack, nicely finding Tibbett. And Peters, in typical style, arrives at the back when there were 7 defenders in or around the 6-yard box. And Martin Peters recreates memories of other days, coming in to score at the back. Comes away all smiles, with a nice reminder of what he still has to offer. 78 minutes gone. Sheffield United lead 2-0, and the crowd can be more satisfied. Clearly the referee's right to have given the first one, but it was a bad penalty in terms of the danger to the Swindon goal. There's Tibbets, who was brought down on that occasion. Chris Kamara going for it. Made his debut, incidentally, in the city of Sheffield, but on the other ground at Hillsborough. That's for Swindon in August '77. Nicely done by Trusson. Not quite so well by Tibbets. Peters. Hamilton. Kenworthy. To Hatton. Lewis beaten quite comfortably. Matthews miskicks. Put in by Trusson. Well, Trusson takes the congratulations of his first goal for his new club. But as the crowd applaud and Trusson gets the congratulations, some of it also is deserved by Hatton, who initially walked comfortably away from Lewis. The missed kick by Matthews, and Trusson stuck out the foot to make it 3-0. Third goal coming in the 82nd minute. Matthews forward to Butler. It's going to be tight for the keeper. But he stood his ground when it came to him. It was out. And with the match won, Martin Peters comes off to be replaced by Paul Garner. Martin Peters will be 37 next month. Playing today his 692nd game, which has just come to an end. Is there still time for Hatton? Well, not if he trips his man like that. Miller. Carter. And the player coach gets to his feet. The crowd applaud. The home side with a 3-0 victory, including a typical goal by Peters in the 78th minute, which added to the penalty by Kenworthy in the 41st minute, made it comfortable for Sheffield United, who then got a third through Trusson in the 82nd. Final score, Sheffield United 3, Swindon Town still without a point in the league, 0.
And those 2 points put Sheffield United back on top of Division 3 on goal difference ahead of Portsmouth. That's a happy enough position for Harry Haslam, the man who anticipated the effect that Martin would have on United's team.
Harry, when Martin Peters was brought here to Sheffield United, what were you looking for him to do?
Two jobs. One was on the field, which he's doing, and being with the lads. And I believed, you know, my view to the board was that this was a type of fella that I believed he'd be learnt the manager's job quietly, without taking big baths, which you get now and again, particularly when you're starting, especially here because it's a big club, with a view to learning the job nice and quietly and taking it over nice and quietly.
When?
Time doesn't come in it, or dates don't come in it, but this is, it's a process, isn't it? But I believe this is how clubs sometimes would do better looking for the managers, giving them time to develop, giving them time to know where everywhere is. You know, i.e. you can come on a ground like this and be here 18 months, not know where the toilets is. But I said to Martin, just learn everything quietly. We'll go along with dual ideas and let's see it come out on the field, which it is.
Can we just go back to Harry Haslam, the man? You said the club attracted you, a big club, and a club that had slipped down, so a chance to put it back. What about the bloke himself, who has a reputation as well as his abilities for being a bit of a joker?
Well, I wouldn't call him a joker. I would call him a happy man, as they call Happy Harry. But he'd done a fabulous job with Luton and got them out of kind of deep trouble financially. And he's done a wonderful job here with Sheffield United. And as I say, Harry takes care of all that work. And as far as I'm concerned, at the moment, so that suits me, because I do what I'm best at, and that's with the players and playing and coaching. And so it's a good team up at the moment, and hopefully it's going to carry on for a few years.
But in the meantime, you are learning about the other side of football.
Yes, slowly. We're not going to take it too quickly, one step at a time. And if and when we feel it's time is right for me to take over, then we'll discuss it and we'll do it when we want to. We're not going to go like a bull at a gate. I'm quite happy to do what I'm doing at the moment, and the liaison I've got with Harry is wonderful at the moment.
I mean, they said to me, do you think you'll make a pair? Well, as I said, they've got Peters and Lee, and now they've got Peters and me, so what's the difference?
Thank goodness for that little touch of humour from Harry Haslam to brighten for a moment this dismal weekend in which gates are down again and we've seen hooliganism at its worst. Clive Allen will certainly look back in misery at his particular misfortune, but if it's any consolation to him, it's all happened before and the game goes on. Remember this so-called goal in 1970 by Alan Hudson for Chelsea against Ipswich, when the boot was on the other foot, as it were, when a miss became a hit. But I'm afraid as we accept that the referee's word must be final, we will not include this spectacular happening in the Goal of the Month competition. Good afternoon to you.
Oh, what a tremendous shot by Allen, and the ball